Hey, we are back with another episode on the Trainwell podcast, where we inspire you to move more, get stronger, and have fun. I am with my good friend, Trainer Darian, and we are bringing you another helpful episode, a productive episode on how to build a workout. D, let's get into this. Let's teach people how do they build the perfect workout.
Now, you all can't see Joey, but he just spent a lot of time licking the top of his protein shake bottle, and that confused me and distracted me. I don't know if you want to address that, Joey.
Yeah, because for those people out there, if you've been in the game a long time, if you get a shaker bottle, right, you put your protein in it and you don't shake it hard enough, you open the lid, you still see powder, like dry powder, and it's not perfectly mixed. And I can't stand when I drink a protein shake and I get clumps of like dry powder
So
stuff.
instead you're going to lick
So
it
that's
off.
what that was about. Lick it off, just get it done with.
Okay, cool. All right, so back on track. Now that you're done licking your water bottle, Joey, walk us through the steps of building out a workout. Now, again, this is not going to be someone's most optimal workout, because if someone's an athlete or they're training for a specific event, they're going to want to gear their workout towards that ultimate end goal. But let's say they just want to build a balanced, well-rounded workout. Where do they start? How do they think about putting that together?
Think of it in 3 simple steps, folks, okay? We can overcomplicate this for sure, and you can maybe one of these days we'll dive into the trainer brain of how they go over workouts, but we'll give you a snapshot of it. So number 1, you got to dictate what your goal is for the workout, how much time do you have, and what do you have to work with? What equipment do you have, right? What is in front of you, right? It could be just body weight, it could be dumbbells, whatever, right? Then the second thing you do is always pick the main lifts or the compound movements first. We'll talk about that in just a second, but you pick your mains. If you have 20 minutes, right, I would say 1 to 2 mains. You can get efficient with that. If you have 60 plus minutes, right, you have every day to train, then you could do 2, 3, maybe even 4 mains. I don't like doing a whole lot of mains, but multiple mains, right? So we'll talk about what you do. And then the last thing you do, the third step, is you just build the workout off those mains. That is your meat and potatoes for the day. So your warm-up should be complementary to that. Your accessories, we'll get into that, should be complementary to that, so on and so forth. Dee, talk to us about what are compound lifts? What are the movement patterns?
Yeah, let's dive into that. But I do want to quickly say this is for the person who I would say is primarily our listener, who's looking to build strength and build muscle and all around fitness. Because of course you could do a circuit in 20 minutes. But this is for the person who really wants to get the most bang for their buck from their workouts and keep striving towards building that strength. Progressive overload. So you want to consider, first let's talk about the compound lifts. When we're talking about compound lifts, we're talking about multiple joints moving in one lift. So for example, the difference between doing a squat and a leg extension. A squat, you're hinging from the hips, you're hinging from the knees, the ankles are moving, you're essentially getting a full body movement, but a squat is knee dominant and works the quads primarily, as opposed to a leg extension that is still working the quads, but you're sitting on that machine and you're only bending the knee. So it's isolating the quads versus with the compound lift, you are getting more muscle groups recruited into that one lift while still focusing on the quads. And that's why the compound lifts are so beneficial and give you so much bang for the buck, because you're getting a lot out of them.
So let's dive into the squat pattern, right? Squat pattern, we're talking the quads, right? The quads are going to be the main lift or the main muscle involved in a knee dominant movement. So I'll just give a couple examples, okay? A bodyweight squat, a goblet squat, a barbell squat, even a leg press, even a Bulgarian split squat. In the squat family pattern, knee dominant, right? The squat family, the squat archetype, whatever you want to call it, there is single leg movements like a step up, like a Cossack squat, like a pistol squat. And then there's double leg movements like the leg press, like the squats I just mentioned too. So again, like Darian said before, if you're feeling your quads burning, you're hitting it for sure with the squatting pattern. Dee, take us through the hinging pattern.
Love a hinge pattern. This is posterior chain. I want to say that properly because Joey gave me a big runaround last time because I said posterior chain. Posterior chain. The muscles behind you, The ones you can't see, that's hamstrings, glutes, back. So when we're working a hinge pattern, the hip is the primary joint that's moving. So the knees do bend, they soften, but they're not bending as much as they would in like a squat pattern. So you're going to feel hamstrings and glutes much, much, much more. So we're talking about things like a deadlift. And this could be any deadlift variation, a conventional deadlift where the feet are under the hips, a sumo deadlift where the feet are wider than shoulder distance. These are things like your hip thrusts, or like a wide stance leg press would be considered a hinge pattern.
Yes, that'll hit your posterior chain there, D, posterior chain. Next up, we have pushing movements. And now this is generally in the upper body push. You could make an argument that, like a quad dominant movement, like a sled push is a pushing movement, sure. But in the case of this video, we're talking about upper body pushing movements. Now, in this category, this is split. There's simply vertical and horizontal. For example, a vertical pressing pattern is going to be a seated overhead press on a machine or with a dumbbell, or an Arnold press, or an incline press, okay, with dumbbells, barbells, etc. And then a horizontal pushing pattern is going to be a push-up or a flat bench, etc. You can even get fancy with the push-up and do ring push-ups. Love ring push-ups, probably one of my favorite pressing exercises.
Finally, for the purposes of this episode, a pulling pattern. And again, we can break that, and that's upper body pulling, and we can break that down into a vertical and a horizontal. So if we're thinking about upper body pulling, that's biceps and back primarily. So you can think a pull-up is a vertical pull. Something like a seated cable row where you're pulling your arms towards your chest, the shoulder blades are coming together in the back, that's a horizontal row.
So there you have it. There's our compound movement patterns. I cannot emphasize how important compound movements are. If you are short on time, please, 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 with a cherry on top, make your compound movements the main thing. Again, step number 1 is figure out what is the goal, what time restrictions, etc. For the mains now, number 2, we pick. If we're short on time, and I'm going to give Darian a quick, we'll go back and forth with a scenario here so we can be practical. You pick 1 to 4 mains, and then you build your workout. So now let's get into the part number 3, building that workout. So D, you ready? I am a very busy mother. I just dropped the kids off at school, and I have a meeting to get to in an hour. I still have to shower and whatnot. I only have 20 minutes. Okay, I am busy. I need to go. Things have been helter-skelter. I haven't planned much. My goal for today is I just need to feel like I did something. I want to maintain my strength. I want to feel good. I don't want to hurt anything. I have a local YMCA at the gym I'm going to go to after I drop the kids off. So what am I going to do? Walk me through. You're my trainer. Take me by the hand and let's go.
This is my actual life you're describing. I drop the kids off at school. I run over to the Y. And typically I wouldn't say I only have 20 minutes. I probably only have 30 to 40 minutes. So I am always thinking about my main lifts first. What are my main lifts for today? Now, most people probably aren't me. I have a program in mind where I do push, pull, push, pull. Those are my days. So if I'm going into the gym, and you could structure your workouts like this, where you do a push day, that would include your knee dominant movements, your quads, like Joey was saying, and your upper body pushing movements. So you're thinking about your mains from your knee dominant movements and your upper body pushing movements. However, if you don't think you're going to be able to always get to the gym 4 days a week and do push, pull, you're going to want to do full body so that if, shit hits the fan midweek, which likely, it will, you can't get back to the gym, you want to know that you at least hit all your muscle groups. So let's say you're doing a full body program. So I'm going to kind of go down my list here in my head of like, okay, what are my 4 main movement patterns? So now if you're me, you're thinking about legs first. Let's be honest, if you're one of the ladies, you're thinking about legs first. So I'm going to probably pick my first main as a lower body. I'm going to go deadlifts, posterior chain. That way I get some back in there too. And then I'm going to think about an upper body main lift. Since I'm already getting back from my lower body, my deadlift, I'm going to pick a pushing main lift. So if you're me, I love an overhead press. I'm going to personally do an overhead press. So I pick my 2 main lifts. I'm going to spend the most amount of my time on my main lifts. So if nothing else, even if I super run out of time after those, I know I did my compound lifts. Then I'm going to go back and I'm going to choose my accessories. Now, because I chose a hinge pattern for my main lift, I'm going to choose a knee dominant movement as my accessory. I'm going to pick a Bulgarian squat. I think they're super versatile. They're really challenging. I'm going to be working primarily quads, but I'm going to be hitting glutes in there too. So, and balance and stability.
Okay, what the heck is an accessory? You just gave a buzzword.
Yeah, we need to go over that. So these are your movement patterns that you're going to end up doing more reps at a lighter weight. They may or may not be compound lifts. A Bulgarian squat is a compound lift. I do like to stick to compound lifts, but every once in a while I'll throw in a leg extension on the machine or a hamstring curl or something like that. Do you want to add anything to accessories?
Yeah, let's keep it simple. Accessory is just a complement of. You can Google it, right? You can even say auxiliary. So for example, if I'm doing a row as my compound, then an accessory movement is something that's going to work the muscle, like a bicep curl. Simple.
So I picked my deadlift as my main, so I'm going to do a Bulgarian squat. I want to hit my quads too. It's a good complement to a deadlift. It's also a single leg movement, and my deadlift I'm doing it using both legs, so good to hit a single leg in there too. And then because I picked a push as my main lift, I'm probably going to go ahead and pick a pull as my accessory lift for upper body. And maybe I'll pick something like raises because that's like really good shoulder work, front raises, lateral raises, lighter weight. I can do more reps of those. So that's really how I'm going to build. So I'll do my deadlift first because I'm going to lift the heaviest on that. Maybe 5 by 5, building to a heavy set of 5. Then I'm going to go into my barbell overhead press. And again, I'm going to do a 5 by 5. Then I'm going to, because I'm short on time, I'm going to superset my Bulgarian squats with my raises. So I'm going to maybe do 8 Bulgarian squats on each side with dumbbells by my sides in each hand. And then I'm going to drop those, pick up my lighter weight dumbbells, do a set of 8 front raises, 8 lateral raises. And then I might even go into, probably if it's me, a bent over reverse fly with those. Then I'm going to drop those weights, rest for 30 seconds to a minute. Repeat that 2 to 3 times based on how much time I have. And then I'm out of there. I'm not even sticking around to do a stretch. I'm out of there.
Tell us, so that's a phenomenal program. Sounds great. I got to ask you, like, when you walk in the gym, are you doing any kind of warm-up, or are you just going right to the deadlifts, chalking up?
So I do believe warm-ups are far more important than a cool-down. So if I'm going to prioritize a warm-up, or one of those, a warm-up or a cool-down, I'm definitely prioritizing a warm-up. But if I am really short on time, I'm going to use my first few deadlift sets, maybe do couple extra as my warm-up. So maybe I'll just warm up that movement pattern with the bar to start. Maybe I'll add a little bit of weight, do that again. Like maybe I'll lay on the floor, do a few quick hip bridges just to get that movement pattern revved up, or even some inchworms so I can get my shoulders involved. But I'm not going to spend a lot of time on a warm-up. I'm going to kind of use the movements I'm already doing to warm up those muscle groups. Okay, let me throw a scenario at you. So the scenario is you're 25. You're in college. You're a dude. Maybe you're not listening to this podcast if you're 25 in college and a dude, but that's okay. You're in between classes. You have, 90 minutes until your next class. You want to get a good sweat session in. And because you're in college, you don't care if you're dirty. You don't need to go home and shower. You're just going to hit the class right away after this. So your goal is, because you're a college dude, you're going to get big. You want hypertrophy.
So mass. Okay. Very good. So let's make this quick, concise, okay? Number 1, we start with the mains, right? Since we have a lot of time here, let's just pick 3 mains, okay? I'm going to keep this simple. We're going to do a squatting pattern. I'm going to do let's just do a front squat, okay? Because let's just say I've been lifting a lot, right? I can handle a barbell front squat. I have a great mobility, etc. My second one is going to be a bench press for my pressing pattern. Let's do a dumbbell bench press. And then for my pull, I'm going to do a bench one-arm row. Okay, so those are my mains. So I got a squat pattern, a push pattern, and a pull pattern. Now, what I think we should do is, since we have that, our primer before we go into our warm-up, right? First thing you do, you walk in the gym, you should get on the treadmill, get hot, right? That's the first thing you should do. But then the next thing you do is a little bit of corrective exercise, some physical therapy for the day. Make it 2 to 5 minutes. I want that to complement my main lift. So let's go over that real quick. I need to prime my quadriceps because I'm going to squat. So I'm going to do a wall sit. okay? Or I might do some hip openers, something to complement, again, my squat. For my shoulders on my bench press, I may just do some arm circles. Again, get the joints moving right and happy. I'm 25 though, so my joints feel great no matter what I do, right? I'm hungover, I'm dehydrated, right? And then for my pulling pattern, I need to do something to help with my back, right? To complement my bench one arm row. So I'm just simply going to do some cat cow. So boom, I got my mobility, my stability in, I'm training smart, got my warm up, I'm hot. Boom, I go into my mains, okay? Now for my mains, since I have a lot of time, I'm going to work up to 3, 4, 5 top sets of each exercise because I can afford to rest 2 to 5 minutes in between. So I'm thinking top sets are like maximal sets. Like I couldn't do 1 or 2 reps more, right? Those are the bang for the buck. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rest about 2 to 3, 4 minutes between each set, not the warm-up sets, but the main sets. And then I'm going to move on. So I do my squat first. By the way, if you have cranky knees in your warm-up, I highly suggest you get a good calf pump and a good hamstring pump before you go to your knee dominant movement. Check that out. If you have cranky shoulders, do some pull-aparts, get that upper back, some face pulls, because your shoulders will really, really thank you when you go to your pressing pattern. So then there you go. I got my front squat done, check. 3 top sets. I get my bench press, boom, 3 top sets. And then I get my one arm rows, 3 to 4 top sets. I'm feeling good. Then simply go to my accessory block. I'm going to do a circuit here, okay? I'm going to pick 3 exercises that are going to complement all of my mains. So for the squat, I'm going to do some walking lunges. After the walking lunges, I'm going to do some tricep kickbacks. After the kickbacks, I'm going to do some hammer curls. And I can do that all relatively with dumbbells, all of them. I may do 30 seconds of lunges. If it's too easy, I may just hold it, right, make it an isometric. Then I'm going to go right into some kickbacks, some skull crushers, and then right into some hammer curls, all in the circuit, time efficient. There we go. And then very simply, I'm going to lay on my back and I'm going to cool down because I'm lazy. I'm in my 20s. I think stretching is boring, but I at least want to make my nervous system relax. So I'm going to lay on my back, put my feet up, set a timer for 3 to 5 minutes, and just really breathe. Think about chemistry. Think about physiology. Don't think about all the things I shouldn't be thinking about.
Love it. It sounds like a perfect bro workout. Going to get all that energy out before class. That's perfect. So, okay, now let's be real. This was a lot to talk about in a podcast. We threw a lot of terms at you. We threw a lot of exercises at you, and then we broke down a workout. But we're going to also include a PDF in the show notes. So if this was kind of super confusing for you, but you still really like this concept of building this balanced workout, we're going to have a PDF that's going to break this all down. So you're going to see on there, step 1, time, step 2, your goal, step 3, here are your movement patterns. And we're going to make it super simple. All you got to do is read through the steps, circle the exercises you're going to do. And like Joey said, typically you don't want to just make a one-off workout without planning, but you can use this template to make your workout for every day of the week. So you could do, let's say you're doing Monday, Wednesday, Friday, full body, use our template, create your Monday workout. Okay, and now erase your circles. Write that down before you erase them. What are you going to do? And then create your Wednesday workout. Choose different exercises, but same flow, but different movements. Write that down. Do the same thing for Friday. Now you have 3 days of the week, 3 unique workouts that are all well balanced. Repeat those for 4 weeks, trying to up your weights each time. At the end of the 4 weeks, pull out our template again, redo your workouts.
This template is fascinating. Again, you can, there's so many derivatives to it. This is for full body workouts. You can do upper body workouts. You can do lower body workouts. You can do any variation you'd like. And so this is just a general template. Again, there's a million ways to do it. Use it first, but I just cannot hammer home how important the compound lifts are. Make sure you're doing them correctly. And as always, if you're ever in pain, don't push through pain. Number one rule of training, do no harm.
Thank you all so much for listening. We hope you have some really fun workouts ahead of you. If you use our template, we'd love to hear from you. Tell us what you chose. Tell us what you did in the gym. And also don't forget, you can click the link to try trainwell if you don't want to build your own workout. You want just a trainer to do it for you. Click the link to try trainwell for 14 days free.
We love you guys. Thank you so much for listening. And we'll talk to you next time with more fun, creative content coming your way. Adios.